Dan bagi yang terlepas sidang media bersama terkini mengenai MH370, kami siarkan semula rakaman awal sidang media itu yang berlangsung di Canberra, Australia. Dan sidang media dihadiri Timbalan Perdana Menteri Australia, Truss, Pemangku Menteri Pengangkutan, Datuk Seri Hishammuddin Hussein, Menteri Pengangkutan China yang Chuantang dan Ketua Penyelaras JACC, Angus.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, can I welcome you to this conference following the tripartite meeting we just held to discuss the future arrangements for the search for MH370. Can I particularly welcome Mr. Hishammuddin, the Defence Minister for Malaysia and Acting Minister for Transport, a face that's become very familiar to Australian television viewers because of his regular press conferences on this issue in Kuala Lumpur. And also Mr. Yang, the Minister for Transport from the People's Republic of China. At our meeting, and I also have, of course, Angus, well known as the coordinator from our joint coordinating committee. There have also been 5 Vice Ministers participating in this meeting, along with a number of officials, as we've sought to address the future issues associated with this search. As you would all know, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, a Boeing 777, disappeared on the 8th of March 2014 on a flight from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. There were 239 people on board. The search for this aircraft has been one of the most difficult ever undertaken anywhere in the world. In a very remote location, in difficult conditions, the international efforts of so many countries have put together a massive search effort. Malaysia, as the flag of the lost aircraft, is the country with the lead investigative responsibility, and the International Accident Crash Investigation is based in Kuala Lumpur. However, the aircraft is thought to have been lost in Australia's air and our search and rescue zone, and so we have been leading in the search operation. Particularly for the last 41 of the 53 days since the MH370 went missing, Australia has had this responsibility to lead the global effort. In this period, 4,638,370 square kilometres of ocean have been searched. It's been a giant effort. 334 search flights have been conducted and a total of 3,137 hours have been spent in the air. There have been 10 civilian aircraft and 19 military aircraft and 14 ships engaged in this search over a long period of time. Unfortunately, all of that effort has found nothing. We've been confident on the basis of the information provided that the search area was the right one, but in practice, that confidence has not been converted into us discovering any trace of the aircraft. Ministers at our meeting today were very appreciative of the efforts of so many nations around the globe who've assisted in the search. We have committed ourselves to an ongoing, continuous effort, but the operation must now enter a new phase and will be focused on intensifying the ocean floor search over a much larger area. A number of phases will process concurrently as we move into this new stage. Meetings will commence on Wednesday in Canberra with international experts to analyse all the data and the information that has been collected so far that is likely to help us identify the path of MH370, together with all of the data that has been accumulated during the search itself. Other meetings will look at the same time as to what assets might be required and available for the next stage of the search. One of the key elements of the next stage will be to undertake more detailed oceanographic mapping of the area of the search area. Much of this area has never been mapped, and so it will require a significant effort for us to understand the ocean floor in that area. It's expected that bathymetric capability will be obtained to start surveying this prospective search area over the next 4 to 6 weeks. We know that the water is very deep, and for the next stage involving sonar and other autonomous vehicles, potentially at very great depths, we need to have an understanding of the ocean floor to be able to undertake that kind of search effectively and safely. Now, the key capabilities that are going to be needed for the next stage of the search of the seafloor, or for a debris field associated with the wreckage of MH370, is a mix of towed side scan or synthetic aperture sonar, and of course capable autonomous underwater vehicles. Work is underway to tender for this equipment, and the aim is to have the assets in the water in the agreed search area as soon as possible. Now, when we're preparing for the new phase, a dedicated team of vessels from Australia, Malaysia and China will continue maritime operations to maintain continuity and momentum. An Australian Air Force AP-3 Orion will also be available to follow up any leads. The Ocean Shield has come to port for reprovisioning and for servicing and software upgrades for the Bluefin 21 autonomous vehicle. The US Navy has chartered the Bluefin for a further month, so Ocean Shield will return to the search area and search a wider area to further extend the search activities. The Bluefin 21 has already covered 400 square kilometres, and this new phase of the search will take it out a little wider. But the key element of the next stage will involve deep ocean search with specialist equipment, and there will be meetings starting this week involving our international partners to look at where this equipment might be available and how it can be included in the search effort. It's possible that some of it may be owned by navies or governments around the world, but it's likely that the majority will have to be provided from the private sector, and we're looking at calling tenders for a single operator to maintain and lead in the new elements of this search. Finally, can I mention that it's our intention to move the Joint Agency Coordinating Centre from Perth to Canberra. This is to bring the centre closer to the high-level representatives of Malaysia and China and other countries who are interested in the search. However, the base of the operations will obviously still be from Perth, and the centre would be moved back to Perth in the event of there being some event which may require it to be reactivated in Perth. Can I thank the West Australian Government for their hospitality for this centre, for making the centre available, and then for providing the support that's been necessary so that we've been able to run a search involving many countries in the most efficient way possible. Now I might ask perhaps my colleagues, Mr. Hishammuddin, who might like to say a couple of words, and then we'll take questions, and also Mr. Yang.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. I would just like to concur and confirm the trilateral discussions this morning went very well, and it is very important that we have this meeting at a very important juncture in our search for MH370. The fact that Australia, Malaysia and China have got together with a very strong delegation from the three nations to discuss and chart the way forward is testimony of the commitment in what we have promised to the families especially, that the search will go on. I take this opportunity to thank, on behalf of the Malaysian government and the Malaysian people and the passengers of MH370, the Australian authorities, especially Angus Hussein specifically, in all the efforts that Australia have shown in conducting the search. And I also like to take the opportunity to thank China, especially in our dealings and engagements with the families in Beijing. As we move on to the new phase, what was discussed this morning is very structured, it is very focused, and I believe that we are on the right track. The meetings, as Deputy Prime Minister indicated just now, there is a sense of urgency. The first meeting is due on Wednesday, and the way forward between the three nations especially gives an opportunity for other nations, institutes, research institutes, and third parties to come on board this unprecedented search. So what we have decided today, I believe, is very, very important, because we are now moving to a new phase, but it also gives an opportunity of those who were not involved with us at the early phase of the search and rescue to come on board on a very specific particular exercise which needs to be done. And here, again, I take the opportunity to thank the Australian authorities, Australian leadership, and the Deputy Prime Minister chairing the meeting today, and Minister Yang from China, because I believe that for the families especially, the search goes on. Thank you.
各位媒体的朋友、女士们、先生们，大家上午好。
Friends from the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.
受中国政府的委托，我率中方代表团来坎培拉参加本次马航370航班搜寻工作部长级会议。中方高度地赞赏澳大利亚政府主持召开本次会议，也感谢马来西亚政府为推动会议召开所做出的工作和努力，同时对国际社会各界在此次搜寻工作当中相互合作、持之不懈的努力付出，在此我也深表衷心的感谢。
Designated by the Chinese government, I had the Chinese delegation to Canberra to participate in this tripartite ministerial meeting on the search of Malaysia flight MH370. China highly appreciates that the Australian government hosted this meeting and that the Malaysia government has made great efforts to promote the convening of this meeting. At the same time, I'd like to express our sincere gratitude to the international community for the cooperation in and persistent efforts rendered to the search operation.
从3月8号到4月30日这55天的搜救当中，中国政府先后派出了18艘舰船、8架舰载直升机、5架固定翼飞机，并协调过往的水域的中国籍的商船68艘、渔船20艘，动用了21颗卫星，累计搜寻的面积达到140万平方公里。在整个的搜寻过程当中，中国政府始终坚持以人为本，主动参与，积极作为，与有关方面加强了很好的配合与合作，这些都为继续开展搜寻工作奠定了良好的基础。
In the 55-day search from 8th March to 30th April, Chinese government has deployed 18 vessels, 8 shipborne helicopters, 5 fixed wings, mobilized 68 passing by Chinese-flagged merchant vessels, 20 fishing boats, and used 21 satellites to search a total water area of 1.4 million square meters. During the whole course of the search, the Chinese government has been sticking to the principles of people orientation, positive participation, and proactive contribution, and maintaining very good collaboration and cooperation with all parties involved, which laid down a solid foundation for continuing the follow-up search activities.
关于新阶段的水下搜寻工作，我们将按照此次会议达成的共识，继续坚持搜寻工作不停滞、不间断、不放弃、不松懈的原则，积极地与澳、马双方加强合作，全力参与常态化的搜寻。
For the subsurface search in the new phase, we will continue to search in accordance with the consensus reached at this meeting and assure that the search will not be interrupted, not be suspended, not be given up, and not be slacked. And with all these principles, China will further the proactive cooperation and participate in the search in the new phase.
我们也深知，后续的打捞、打下的搜寻范围更广，难度更广，任务更艰巨。工作政府将一如既往坚持不懈，尽一切可能和努力，参与好搜寻工作。
We know very clearly the area of the follow-up search will be even broader with more difficulties and tougher tasks. The Chinese government will, as we always did, try its utmost and make every possible effort to participate in the search.
我相信，只要我们三方密切配合，认真落实好共同的声明，我们就能够以实际行动来回应国际社会对我们的期盼，对机上人员家属做出一个交代，尽到我们的义务和责任。
It is my firm belief that so long as we three countries closely collaborate with each other, materialize the joint communique seriously, could we, with our pragmatic work, respond to the great expectations of the international community, provide closure to the families of the people on board, and discharge our duties and responsibilities.
谢谢。
Thank you.